Hello there, Internet. I would say welcome back. I'd say welcome back to the Hermit Gamers live stream of something, something, something. But this one's actually a new thing entirely. Now, recently, a few weeks back, a pretty big content creator put out this, ranked all the characters in X-Men Legends 2. I thought it was a completely forgotten game. I was really surprised to see it. Really, generally, very good video, but here comes the well, actually. But actually, the rankings are a little bit off. I know why they're off. It's not. It's just there's a level of min maxing that well, the people who get it get it. The people who don't have yet to. They probably just haven't played this game enough. I've played this game a lot, as you can probably tell if you've watched my content. I try to play it in the hardest conceivable way possible in order to stress test builds to the absolute limit by only permitting myself one life and by playing solo. If anyone is unfamiliar with the rules here, and I've got a few runs in here, and I'm going to show you something. Anyone who is interested, but let's just do my little start screen.
Let the games begin.
And that was a very long introduction. It takes me a lot of talking sometimes to get to the point. Anyway, so this X-Men Legends 2 running, and here are your difficulties: easy, normal, hard. Now, let me explain something to you. Easy is so easy that it's not even, there's no point. Normal, I would argue, is also very easy. Normal is balanced around the idea that you can let the AI distribute everything, in which case it just kind of puts a point in everything, and it's pretty good. To be honest, it's actually a really fun way to play the game because you get to use more skills and you discover more synergies and try different teammates. But anyway, now when you go hard, this is a second playthrough and you're starting with characters that are at a higher level. Now the hardest thing you can do in this game, the hardest thing you can do, it's not meant to be played this way, is to play hard solo, and that's what we're going to do. So this is the save state for my recent hardcore solo playthrough with Colossus. Supposedly, according to a recent content creator, supposedly the single weakest character in this game. That's not true. That's not true by a long shot. He's actually one of the single strongest. There are some characters who are just flatly broken in this game, who are stronger than him. Iron Man and Sunfire and Pyro. My game better not freaking crash, I'm telling you. You better not crash. Don't crash. Alright, so here we go. As you see, you're supposed to have 4 people. We are going to have 1. What does that mean? It means we draw 400% more aggro. It means we take 400% more damage. It means we have to do 400% more damage in order to get through. These are non-trivial multipliers. But this is an easy game. This is doable. You don't have to be a crazy gamer to play through this solo on easy or on hard. In some ways, playing through it solo on normal would probably be quite easy. But playing through this game solo on the normal difficulty at the very early game, it can actually be, it's really difficult. There's parts where you need to know some things to get through. Anyway, here's the build. Probably unusual distribution of statistics if you've looked at any typical video, because most people who play this game don't realize speed is a dump stat. You do not put even a single point in speed ever. Speed is irrelevant. Defense and attack rating do not provide any defense against enemy abilities, only against auto attacks. So in this game you have abilities. This is an ability. These are auto attacks. Auto attacks are free, abilities cost energy. However, level 1 abilities, low-level abilities, cost such a trivial amount of energy that they are infinitely spammable. They do about as much damage as auto attacks. They never miss. Are you seeing the point? But you're also not going to spam these low-level abilities. You're going to be spamming high-level abilities like this. You do not use these. And you're not worried about the enemy hitting you with these. They do trivial damage. What you're worried about are things that CC you, things that will blast you down, burst you down, and all of that is going to come from enemy abilities. So it's kind of got a little bit lost here. Now the build, again, we min-max. We min-max everything. Now, Massive Strike, this is our single target DPS ability. It's It's nothing to write home about, but it's fine. It gets the job done. Siberian Express. This is our ad clear, movement, everything. This ability is chef's kiss. It does a lot. You will love it. Juggernaut has the same ability. It's fantastic. It's everything you want as a melee player, as a tank, because you'll see how it works. And here, the pièce de résistance of the Colossus build. This is the single reason why Colossus is one of the best characters in this game. He can't die. He can't die, and he does double damage. Every time I have an extreme, I get almost a minute of invincibility and double damage. How can you seize at that? And this is just a room clearing nuke. And you can double the damage of it with this. So you're going to start to see the point. None of this is relevant. This just gives you my energy back faster, which I'll explain why energy economy is actually very important in this game, but we'll get to that later. This is just, you can do whatever you want with these points. I put them in this. This is an insurance policy, a little bit of passive resistances. If for whatever reason I don't have invulnerability up, then I have that. And I have a lot of health because I have a dump stat, so I pump a lot of body, I get a lot of health. Now, this is our first fight. We're not invincible for this fight. Shouldn't matter. And you'll see how Siberian Express works. We just bunk straight through them. They can't lock us in a corner. They can't body block us in. It's like I said, it's everything you want as a melee character. Just have the ability to say, I want to go over there now. And you just go over there now. Super fast. You smash everything in your way. Breakable terrain, you smash through doors. Bonk, see? You smash through barrels, you smash everything. You smash through enemies and you do tremendous AoE damage. And that's just your bread and butter. Now, it's a little bit, again, this is our first serious fight. We don't have an extreme token, so we're not invincible, but we will probably get one in this fight. And I'm going to save it if I can, because these enemies, these gun guys, are some of the least trivial of the basic enemies, but they are still fairly trivial. It's only when boss mobs and elites and stuff like that start coming out that we could get into some trouble. But as you can see, they're whittling our health down a little bit, and none of this would be an issue if we had our extreme up, which we will get it.
I require more energy for that.
Also, another thing very important about this game is getting your equipment right. And what you want on a character like Colossus is this, plus physical damage, maybe a little bit of non-physical damage in the mix. Eventually, you will have you'll have endgame gear that has both. Gearing makes a tremendous difference, and you gear for damage. You don't gear for survivability because there are better ways to survive. Even if you just have to survive with kind of like your wits and positioning, it can be done as long as you do enough damage. With damage, all things are possible. Now, this is sometimes you do just get cucked a little bit by RNGs, Lucifer, as they call him sometimes. But we want to play this safe and not aggro everything at once, because as I say, boss packs are the only dangerous thing. But this guy doesn't have a particularly dangerous aura. We should be able to just punch him down. Yeah, nice and easy. And look at that, we got a rare. And now I have my first extreme token. So from now on, from this point on, the only way I die is if I get ledged, or if I don't push my buttons, or if my energy economy goes to shit. And this is why I say energy economy really matters. Because when the game is dropping these, it's not dropping these. It has a kind of pity system where it drops what you need first. So first, health and energy, because they are the lower tier resource, and because this is the prestige resource, you get these after. So, if you only get a certain number of drops, and you want to get as many of these as possible, you don't want to be constantly dipping into those. Now, you're always going to use energy, that's fine. So they're going to eat a few of your drops, but you don't want them to be eating too many. It's untenable. Sorting, especially if you play solo, sorting energy economy is everything. Because, energy translates to damage. And in these types of games, damage solves every single problem. And now we just one-shot. Now life is good. Now we're actually invincible. We're not even, we can be ledged, and there are some places in the game where you kind of have to look out and watch yourself, because you get ledged, you die. Out of here. But see this? We're going to be positive on our extreme economy so quickly, and we're going to have literally minutes of invincibility and double damage just sitting in the tank, ready to be used when we want to use it. And, you know, does it look like I'm struggling to kill these guys? I don't feel like I'm struggling. Let's just use this again because we can. There's more boxes here. We'll get more tokens. Mainly for this boss mob. They could have been dangerous. They're not dangerous now. And as I said, positive economy. We're not quite in surplus yet, but we will. We'll get there. Because you go through so the more you play this game, the more you will learn the areas where you can die and the areas where you don't need to worry so much. And you don't need to worry about having this up in all the areas where you don't need to worry so much. But there you go. We're a surplus. We're still invincible, but we're going through. We're going to start playing through the game. And this is as hard as this game can get.
Greetings.
It can't get harder than this. Aside from taking your equipment off or not distributing stat points at all or something like that. Anyway, let's see what this guy has equipment-wise. Anything we're saving for or shopping for. We're not interested in that. We want damage, 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 damage. Damage is the only fucking thing that matters. Damage solves every single problem.
I think you'll find my prices
because
reasonable.
if you kill stuff before it hurts you, you know, you don't have anything to worry about. Anyway, let's see what 38 energy damage versus, oh my gosh, 78. Not even a contest, but I will have to get very high level before I can actually equip those. Odds are I'll find something good. I'll find something better before. And yeah, now that we're doing this on the higher difficulty, we're going to have a lot more money, but I'm not going to be able to buy skill points or anything like that, so it is what it is. I should have some skill points. And remember, this is, they said, the weakest character. I can promise you, if you play through that first prologue before you even have one extreme token and try to do that on this difficulty, solo, as Cyclops, oh lord, oh, you are gonna have a great time. A real great time, trust me. I've done it. I know. I did. You can go see there's a Cyclops playthrough on my channel. I think he's one of the worst characters in this game. Actually, if I had to, the very bottom, the absolute D tier. He's on it. Not for team play. He's really great for team play. Because his main weakness is his energy economy. And in a team, you just give him buffs that make that irrelevant. And then he's actually a really cool range fighter with some really cool ranged abilities. These guys look a little bit. You know, I don't like that red. That's a scary color, so let's just be invincible. And how's that? The weakest character in the game. Weak characters don't typically have buttons that make them invincible. Let alone make them invincible and do double damage. I mean, Rogue has an extreme. Which functionally makes her invincible because it bounces all damage she takes back at enemies. But it takes way more skill points to max, and it doesn't double her damage. Yeah, it bounces damage back, but damage enemies do compared to the damage you do is kind of trivial. So rebounding damage is not a particularly impressive mechanic in comparison to buffing your own damage. Rogue is flatly worse than Colossus and is probably a D tier character. Again, not on the team, but everything in this game is strong on it. Everything. You can randomly pick any 4 characters and absolutely break this game over your knee with them. Even the 4 weakest characters in the game, of which don't even exist. I don't even know if there are 4 characters in a true D tier. It's Scarlet Witch is one, and again, Scarlet Witch is maybe the best team buffs in the game. It's her or Phoenix, but they're both like they both have cracked team buffs and really good on a team. But Lord, solo, she's terrible. And like, you know, even on a team, her damage is kind of lackluster. Her builds are janky. You never have enough skill points to get the stuff you want. A lot of her abilities just...
You fought well.
I don't know how to explain it. They're just jank. They don't work that great. Anyway, she's definitely one of the weaker characters. I'm trying to think who else. Like the genuine D tiers. Like Cyclops has to be one. Scarlet Witch has to be one. Honestly, maybe Wolverine and Sabretooth. Maybe. I mean, they have phenomenal damage. But their energy economy reeks to high heaven. I don't know. I think they honestly they just do too much damage to be D tier. Like I say, damage solves all your problems. They're also really fast, and you know, as the old saying goes, speed is armor in a sense. If you're fast, you can get yourself out of a lot of problems. And again, you know, here we go. We just... You know, there's a reason I don't really play through, like I haven't done a run through on this difficulty, because it's like the characters that can do it kind of trivialize it, and the characters that can't do it just kind of can't do it, or it's so miserable to do that you'd have to restart it many, many times.
You didn't
Say, let me create. It's no trouble. Sure.
Be careful in this area. It had to have... Yes.
But yeah, it's, you know, people will say Colossus doesn't do enough damage. That's, I don't understand. I don't know what abilities they're using. I don't know what they're maxing. Because I think that's a gearing problem and a statting problem, more so than a skill problem, build problem. I think people, you know, as I say, speed is a dumb stat outright. And then I think people over-invest in it because they think, you know, oh, well, I need to hit enemies and I need to have armor and defend myself. I've heard a lot of guides and stuff talk about Steel Skin being a good ability for Colossus, and it is, in a solo playthrough, it's necessary to get through the early game, but only the very early game. As soon as you... and the main issue is in the very early game, Colossus doesn't have damage. Basically, all he has is this punching stuff. And that means he gets beaten to shit in every fight he takes. So you just need some way to give yourself some, you know, to use your EP that benefits you, because his level 1 attack skill is just not useful at all in the very early game. So let's just see what that is. Because I'm going to be keeping an eye on equipment, because we are going to start finding like extremely potent equipment. And as you can see, the extreme economy is just starting to go flatly positive. And we're just coming in as these little angle biters. We don't even need to use like a, you know, a proper ability that we've actually spec'd into. We just use a level 1 ability and almost one-shot them. And this area, I've said it before, on a normal playthrough, a non, you know, I don't know what to call this, non-hard, non-nightmare playthrough, base game playthrough, this is the most dangerous area in the game. But it's not on this difficulty, because the things that make it dangerous, well, it's certainly not for Colossus on this difficulty. It was a real struggle getting through here as Colossus. In fact, I died and had to do a full reset
the first time I got into these tunnels. I think that's... I can't remember exactly what happened, but I think you can go look at the video. I just start again and I start my stream again rather than having like 3 streams of me going through Act 2. But I generally do deathless runs. I died a couple of times as Colossus because I genuinely, like, I hadn't done a run in a long time. And there were a lot of little things I'd forgotten, so I died in here. But that's not unusual. I knew even as I was doing it. Like, this is one of the places in the game where you could die. On a normal playthrough, certainly. On this difficulty, it's much harder because you have a full build on this difficulty. There are other things that will be more challenging on this difficulty. Not this area. So the main thing is these guys are so dangerous early game because early game, especially if you're playing, you know, hardcore or solo, you kind of always want to kite and peel enemies away and, you know, take your fights like favorably and use space and patience as a kind of leveling tool. But these guys deny that because they basically say, I'm going to send a little stream of these little guys after you and it's infinite. And you need to dive through them and kill me as quickly as possible to end that threat. And these little guys will start taking all the space and just generally... And these little guys are really dangerous as well because a lot of them can occupy the space around you, so a lot of them can attack you at once and they'll do a lot of damage. These pricks just keep respawning. Really frustrating. Probably should have just popped my extreme so I could one-shot them, but I think I'm just going to charge out of here. And this is the nice thing about this ability. You get that, the Sorceress effect, or Diablo 2, where it's like, if there's a place I don't need to be, right? Let's say there's a place there's a lot of physical immune enemies, and there's no reason for me to kill them. I don't need EXP, I don't think they're going to drop anything for me. I don't have to kill them to complete a quest. I just say bye. Goodbye. And charge through them. And I can even pop Unbreakable on.
Didn't expect that, did you?
And that's kind of our first open boss mob. And it's typically quite a dangerous one because of the location and the type of enemies that they are. Much more dangerous on a base game playthrough.
I am Colossus!
Not that this is modded or anything. I mean base game as in normal difficulty, whatever you call it. But yeah, so you get the Sorceress effect of like, okay, well I don't have to fight where I don't want to. I can, you know, push straight into the areas where I actually want to be and, you know, where my abilities are strong and all that sort of stuff. The lucrative fights. And at this point, like, we can more or less speedrun the game if we want. I don't remember the old portal trick for speedrunning. I think you can actually go look up the speedrun record for this game. There is a little speedrunning community. I used to know some of the tricks. I'm not really a speedrunner though. I'm not. But like, the weakest character in the game. Again, this is the hardest way to beat it. You cannot make the game harder than this. This is like, I know for a fact the people who are saying that this character is weak are not playing with only one character on this difficulty. You know, and yet here we are. It's very doable. It's not just doable. It's comfortable. It's honestly, it's kind of easy. It's even a little bit boring in some cases. The main thrill is seeing the build at work and thinking, okay, well, where does my next power spike come from? And for me, it will be gear, because you, on this difficulty, you start like really good gear starts to become available. All right, now we got a little bit of, and we can show you our. You know, so we have multiple layers of bullshit going on now where it's like, not only are we invincible, but if we have the, if our extreme economy is good enough, you know, we can just press a button and it just deletes everything on the screen. You can't be safer than this, you know? Like, where we can go where we want, we can run out of any kind of bad situation, smash anything in our way, environmental, enemy, whatever. If they don't die, they just get, you know, physically shoved, hurled out of the way. You know, we can be invincible at the push of a button for extreme durations. We have great damage, we kill almost everything in, you know,
One shot when we have all our buffs up. Like, I don't like what more. When will the Colossus slander end? I don't understand. But as I say, I think generally speaking, people who make guides and stuff for this game I just don't think they min-maxed as much, you know? And I don't think they fully optimize with gear and stats. I think it's widely understood that speed is a dumb stat. To say widely understood, not many people play this game at all. So, you know, of the tiny community that do. Like, you know, the last strategy guide that was made for this game, I'm fairly certain, is one of the, you know, the old school ones you download on a Word doc. And it was written out in plain text with like emoticons and smiley faces and all sorts of stuff like that. I think I had it on my hard drive. And I used to bitch about that because it said Colossus was freaking D tier and bad. But at least they understood that some of the characters who were really good were really good. Like that guide said that like Nightcrawler is extremely strong. That's true. It said Toad is extremely strong. That's true. It said Professor X is extremely strong, and that's true. The video that I'm discussing really said Professor X is really bad, and that's just crazy. Professor X is extremely powerful. Unbelievably powerful. You just need to understand that he's level 1 melee skill, Cleave. Whether you think it is or it isn't, I can tell you it's coded this way, it's a melee ability. So if you use plus physical damage equipment, it actually becomes one of the most devastating abilities in the game. In fact, it's literally all he needs.
And then everything else about Professor X is good. He has a trash ultimate. He doesn't really need it, but it does hurt him in solo play. I would never rate him like, you know, S tier. Maybe not even A tier, but he's definitely strong. He's definitely like B tier. Most of the characters in this game fall in B tier, but that most of the characters in this game are strong. You know, only a few are like this broken where you, like, I can't die, I kill everything, you know. And as I said, there's a few above this guy who are, you know, they're not just, it's not just that their base kit is super strong, like they're actually broken. There are things about them that are not supposed to interact the way they do, and it's insanely favorable for the player, and so on. So there's like Pyro and Sunfire, for example, they have one particular ability that, like, it just one-shots pretty much everything. And I mean, even things like, you know, unique bosses and act bosses and stuff, it can, like, 1- and 2-shot them when it's fully built into it. It's not, I don't think it's supposed to work that way, but it can. They also have this, functionally the same ability as this guy does, the double damage / invincibility hacks. So they're very similar to Colossus. They just do even more damage. Oh, pardon me, just really closely. You see, that guy just does like a trickle of damage. He is doing elemental damage, and we do have about like 40-something% resistance to those. And that's one of the reasons why I do build into Metallurgy. But, you know, if there were 4 of them, enemies can also crit. But even then, I say, you know, this is why you don't worry about the basic enemies. You worry about the elites, because the elites can have all kinds of damage multipliers, and then they have guys around them who can get benefits from the auras, and they're very much like Diablo 2. But yeah, you see, I can kind of let these guys wail on me a little bit. But as I say, so even regular enemies can do surprising burst every now and then, because it's just like, oh wow, they just like a bunch of crits, a bunch of hits. Anyway, we're coming up on our first boss. And It'll take us a little while to chip him down. The bosses get outrageous health pools on this difficulty. But we'll do it. Because, I mean, look, we've got, like... You know, we actually do have minutes of invincibility and double damage. I need these shits to land.
You fought well. Didn't expect that, did you?
And I have to remember to actually keep that up. Because when I keep that up, I remember what I said about using energy pots and so on. When I keep this up, A, I use 0 health potions, because I don't take any damage. So I don't need to worry about that eating into my extreme economy. And because I do twice the damage, I use less EP. So I will functionally get... Basically, if I keep this up, I'll get more of these to keep this up more. That was a bad place to use it because there just wasn't enough to fight and to kill to make it worth the investment. But that's okay. We'll use it here.
I enjoy this very much.
Moita these bombs. Please land. Yes, form a nice, orderly mob. Just out of here. On your way. I hate these little ankle biters. Now this guy has a really dangerous aura. I pressed the wrong button because I'm amazing at this game. It's fine. The thing is, this boss who's coming up, I don't even need invincibility to kill him. I just want the double damage. I want as much double damage as possible, just so we get it done fast. And I kind of balked that up. But again, we're saying, again, you know, this character is just strong. You can balk things up, you can make mistakes, and it doesn't really matter, because... Yeah, this is what we want to just kite them all together and take them out in decent little groups.
Well.
Here's our boy, and damage seems fine to me. We're just kind of throwing boxes at him for funsies here, but let's do this properly, I suppose. Now this guy, we can use this ability on him. It does more damage than the charge, but it's a little bit tricky to hit on him. But we'll see. But, like, come on, this is not bad. These are good chunks. This is good damage. Look at the numbers. 2,000 damage. We might briefly lose our invulnerability. Nope. We killed him in under 45 seconds, I guess, because I used that at the start.
I am unable to do that.
Oh, we're carrying too much crap. Alright. Big Potter.
Well,
Sell a bunch of crap. Get our props.
Now
Shh.
my
Props. Sabertooth. I want props. EXP as well, please. No? Alright. Get out of here. On your block. Oh, I forgot I found that in my normal playthrough. Neat little item. Immune to slow is quite nice. This is Colossus's unique item.
which is, as you can see, is pretty good. A lot of the defense is not great. The body's good and the resistances are good, but I wouldn't sacrifice damage for it. Anyway, sell everything we don't want.
Again, my friend.
Maybe just gamble with the money. Maybe those are the ones we bought, aren't they?
I think you'll find the prices to be most reasonable.
Where are you, bugger? Back into the fray with us, hold on.
Hey, that was some clever professor deep and use them anytime.
Oh, pardon me, I was drinking. I always point out that when I was doing my early runs, that I say, once you get to this area, even in a solo hardcore run, you sort of shouldn't lose. Because these barrels will infinitely respawn if you just leave this area, like, because you won't be able to keep portaling back. But if you just walk out of this area and come back, the barrels will respawn, as they do in all boss arenas. This is the first boss arena. So the only way you should lose a hardcore solo run, if you're not, if you're putting sensible builds on your characters, after you get through those caves at the start, the biggest problem you're going to face is your economies and, taking too much damage and then having to go buy potions and then running out of money and then running out of potions. And that essentially just says, that's kind of your like, Mum, can we have lower Karast at home? It's your place where you can go to stock up. There are much better ones in the later game, but that's kind of the initial one. It's the first accessible one. And this area, typically very dangerous. I think this might be where we start seeing physical immunes. But they're not unkillable. Because... So... This gives you bonus mental damage. And as you can see, 106% chance, 106%. So we don't just deal physical damage. The more we can get our physical damage up, the more meaningful that bonus mental damage becomes. So often for characters who do physical damage, like, you see these guides and stuff that will say, like, oh, Rogue is good because she has an attack that does energy damage, so she comes against physical damage. Yeah, but it's 20 skill points to max the stupid thing. You're better off min-maxing your physical damage attacks and then building into focus, so then they do massive damage, and then you get a massive amount of bonus mental damage on top. You will occasionally come across enemies who are mental, I think, maybe mental and physical resistant. You just ignore them. I don't think the enemy density here is good enough to have Unbreakable up permanently. I'm also not at all worried about dying unless I do stupid things like this. Just having a desperate fight with the geometry there. But you can see this guy's mental resistant, and look how much tougher he is than the average bear. Because he is resisting a lot of our bonus damage. Of course, if we have Unbreakable up, not a problem. We still kill them very quickly. This is kind of one of those tricky areas that you get in the early game.
Sometimes I forget how strong I am.
Where the enemy density kind of stinks. But single enemies still chip you down and, you know, eat up your resources, so you kind of want to be using your buffs, but you kind of can't afford to. And these areas basically don't exist outside of this cave. One of the bigger problems with the cave as well is there's nothing to break. There's no barrels and boxes, and you know, you get a lot of potions, a lot of tokens out of breakables, which is just another reason why this is one of the more dangerous areas in the game. If you come across a boss mob like that and you're playing solo hardcore and you don't have that button to press, you probably blink portal out and then you go somewhere else and farm an extreme token. Because it's very, very easy for some of these boss mobs to just randomly burst you down. You think everything's fine, everything seems fine, and then the next minute you're looking at a death screen.
Are you alright? I enjoy this very
But this isn't scary stuff. And see this, like, we can still bash through them with auto attacks. They're not even that crazy. But yeah, see now we're starting to get these really higher level items that have really strong affixes and so on. And we're not finding anything really good, but that's just a matter of time. Good equipment comes, just RNG. Sometimes, oh man, RNG, man, the desire sensor. Sometimes it takes a long time. But I hope this is demonstrating the fallacy of saying that Colossus is, you know, it's one thing to say he's mid-tier maybe, right? Or that you don't like playing him, but to call him the weakest character in the game when he can do this. And I am telling you again, well tomorrow night I'll try this with Cyclops, because I have a Cyclops who just finished. You know, we'll try this with Cyclops. I'll show you. I'm gonna show you. It's doable. It's doable. We just it ain't gonna be like this. That's all I can say. You'll see what I mean. Lots of kiting, lots of running, lots of peeling the onion, and potentially dying. Because you don't just have, you can't just press a button and say no to death. Like, most characters don't have that luxury. And I understand that when you play the game in a team context, then okay, having the ability to completely mitigate damage probably doesn't seem as strong, especially if it's only for one character. And I get that, but it still doubles your damage. You know, it still doubles your damage. And if you're doing something like a back boss fight or something, you just take this character and just sort of place him point, if that makes sense. So you can just go toe-to-toe with the boss, take no damage, deal double damage yourself, and your whole team just pounds away on him behind you. Colossus also has a okay team buff, if you want to build into it. And if you were playing him in a team, you do not need this. So what you could actually get is this, which it looks very unimpressive here, +2, but it scales fairly well. But if we were to respec and take all these points and put them all in here, it would probably give us about 18 or 17 points in each of these. Wait, I think it's points in everything, isn't it? Strength C, yeah, Strength C body focus. And that's not bad. Like 18 focus, as we said, is 18% bonus mental damage. 18 strike is, you know, like 36% bonus physical damage. 18 mental damage is also an extra 18% energy regen. 18 body is like an extra 40 hit points or something. You know, so just like a bunch of little bops all around. Not terrible, especially when they're being spread over 4 heroes. I want to be really careful about charging near this cliff because it can go over.
Where is my next opponent?
But yeah, we're starting to get back because we're not using them.
Are you alright?
So we're kind of climbing back up the hill a little bit. I just don't want to start using because you know, like this one guy, and then I have to smack him twice, and maybe one more guy up here. I'm not worried about getting like overwhelmed and dying here. It's just the energy cost gets a little bit cheeky because you know we're having to charge through them multiple times. And you can also use this clap if you actually want to spec into it. It's quite strong. As you can see, the damage is quite slow, but that's only at level 1. With Unbreakable up, this clap, even at level 1, actually one-shots a lot of stuff. You can also leave Siberian Express at level 1.
I am Colossus!
So these guys are actually like immune to knockback. But they do a little bit of damage. You wouldn't want to wade into a boss mob of them without your invulnerability up. But as you can see, Siberian Express still damages them, and its damage is excellent. And if it kills them, it kind of destroys the corpse and you charge through it. So even if enemies are CC immune, this ability can still help you if you're kind of cornered by them. Yeah, see, because we're not using these, it means we get a little bit beaten up sometimes. So we're starting to eat a couple of health pots and stuff. And then that means it's going to be dropping them. So I gotta remember to pop this up at least for the bigger fights. But the problem is, as I say, there's no, at least in this area, you have to get the drops from the enemies, and the enemies are a little bit spaced out, so... Yeah, so these guys, mental and energy resistant.
I am mighty. I am Colossus.
Extremely dangerous. If you're Cyclops, almost unkillable. And yes, he has abilities that do like electricity damage. And one that does radiation damage, but the radiation damage one would take so long to kill a mob. It's not realistic. The electricity damage one is a trap that is really good, but because they can't be CC'd, the trap is supposed to CC things, and the trap can be broken. So you're starting to see what I'm saying. If an enemy can't be CC'd, it just breaks the trap. So they are kind of uniquely dangerous to Cyclops because the main attack skills you'll be using against them deal energy damage, which they're immune to. You have bonus mental damage, which is great, but they're immune to it. You have a trap that can do electricity damage, but it kind of needs to CC stuff to work, and they're immune to CC. So you're going to have a great time in here as Cyclops.
There is nothing better than victory.
So Master he is the
But yeah, once we pop Unbreakable,
I am mighty.
we just can't be fucked with. Can't be messed with.
I lack the power to do that.
This big guy is still tanky as heck. And putting out a lot of damage too. This is a little bit dangerous. And I don't want to use my extreme token right away, so let's... Okay, they're isolated mode. Should be. If these jerks want to fight me, they can move away from that pit. And they will. They'll chase you forever. Which is great. Because I'm tired of wasting energy on small groups. Now, if ever there was a spot to proc that, this is it. And as you can see, when we actually have good enemy density, we just get it back anyway. So we don't even have to worry too much about using it. You use it in the situations where you really need it. It's going to pay for itself pretty much instantly.
It appears my esteemed
Cannot be beaten.
And yeah, I like to pop it in there even though I didn't have a replacement, just because the positioning there is a little bit derpy and those minion guys can do a lot of damage on this difficulty, so just play safe. The odds that I won't get another extreme token before this boss fight are basically zero.
You fought well.
I just chunk these guys one at a time with this. These guys are one of the tankiest enemies in the game. They're really tanky. You gotta get away from that mushroom. And as I said, you get another mushroom. Just as I predicted. I'm a true master of the game. I can't help it. Punk. That's the most difficult, like, tricky combo for me at least to pull off. The others I can all pretty much do on demand. That one, I always have trouble with it. But that's basically the only reason for auto attacks to exist, is those combo shields. You kill everything around them. Anyway, here's our first, or second boss fight. He's supposed to run away when he does that. We don't need to, at least not right now, because we're invincible. And because we just do that. He knocks us down, it's fine. I remember, there's a way to dodge that. It's really tricky. I'm trying to remember. Oops. Hey, see those kicks and punches that he did there? So that's the only thing that this guy will ever do to you that can be affected by your defense rating. All this stuff, the stuff that's actually dangerous because it CCs you, like knocks you down and so on, it's not particularly dangerous to me, but in this fight. But as I say, that stuff is the stuff that will always hit you, so you just gotta grin and bear it. Or you gotta physically avoid it with abilities that allow you to move quickly, something like that, or you I-frame it, as they say. There are some little tools you can use that, like block skills, and there's some skills that are kind of just uninterruptible. So, because we are doing this on a hard playthrough, we got plenty of cash monies.
Greetings again, my friend.
Just buy some equipment. I'd rather buy some. Oh, stuff.
Do you have any questions?
Ooh, that's kind of tempting. It's really nice, but plus to max damage does not work the same way. Plus to minimum and maximum damage, well, they're not bad affixes.
There's no need to hurry.
They do not work in the same way that, something that just gives you plus flat damage works. It's a very different mechanic. So one is essentially added before all your multipliers, the other is added at the end. I'm sure you can guess that the one I'm kind of saying is not so great is the one that's added at the end. So that 24 max damage is actually only giving you 24 maximum damage, even on an ability that does like 1,000 damage. If you have, some gloves or something that give you plus 40 damage, that 40 damage is going to be multiplied a lot. For example, on this, 747%. Now this we might not max, because this game is often about breakpoints, and it may be very hard to maintain the one-shot breakpoint with this. But we'll see. Just check an extra point in there. Body focus strike. We always want focus. Focus is
Thank heaven, thank.
energy regen, damage. So now we're coming into an area where there are actually like crates and boxes and things. These flying jerks are pretty annoying.
So the biggest problem we're going to have is actually fights that just kind of aren't worth putting our buffs up for. And they will get increasingly rare upon me yawning. As we play through.
Didn't expect that, did you? Where is my next opponent?
But you see what I mean about the resistances just being an insurance policy. You know, we can kind of brawl with these guys. We don't have to worry too much about the bullets and the energy bolts and all that sort of stuff that are whacking us on occasion. We don't have to use our invulnerability. And again, to reiterate, this is the hardest way you can play this game. It's the hardest difficulty, and we're playing it without a team. We're playing it solo. I also restart entirely if I die. I'm not going to die on this guy. Though I am getting quite tired. I've actually kind of been on a holiday. Not a holiday, but a family thing. I've been, pardon me, been away from home for a few days.
I cannot be beaten.
If ever there was a good moment for this, this is it. I can't get in there without someone from Brotherhood. These altered genetics guys are a tough attack.
I lack the power to do it.
You can actually just bypass this area.
I cannot be beaten.
Hold on. Super. Alright, there we go. 4 levels away from a nice gear upgrade. Getting over to those platforms is actually a pain in the ass if you don't have some kind of double jump or flight or something, or just a ranged ability you can zap them with. Now I'm kind of terrified that I'm going to die because
really tired, man. My concentration's gonna go to bits. I'm kind of terrible, so I'm like focusing up. It means I'm being a little bit quieter, just after my little boast. Like if I die, it's not gonna be a good look. Oh my god. I hate. This was made by Raven Software. Even good developers can put absolute garbage in their games. Like, and this is absolute. Like, come on, this isn't a fucking platform game. It's an action RPG. If you want me to fly over there, then you know. This is just getting stupid. I think I might be able to hit it with one of my ranged abilities. I'll fucking ult to break it if I have to. I'm not gonna spend 10 minutes trying to make a fucking jump in an ARPG. I don't even know if I can. Fucking. Alright, I just need to be patient. I need to try to be zen because the game is not going to change. Anyway. Just pop this thing in. I'll do it the fast way. I'm very happy to skip some optional objectives, but there are some things kind of within the optional objectives, if that makes sense, that I want to get my grubby mitts on. Alright, you know what? I don't care. Let's just fight a little bit, and if they want to follow us, hopefully they will.
I am mighty. I am Colossus. Need a break, or did I just give you one?
Yeah, I want to start actually like blasting through some content. Now, there is a reason to come back. Kind of going to ignore a lot of these. So I see a boss pack that, you know, I mean, any concerns for my safety. Just pop Unbreakable. And we get rid of them all. Nice and quick, nice and efficient, and this is what came here for.
I cannot be beaten.
It's only 10, but I'll take it. It's free. We stand a free buff in this house. Okay, that's right. You know what? I'm just gonna ignore you. You can go fuck yourselves. You don't get to die today. You know the most depressing thing in if you've ever played a game like Overwatch or Marvel Rivals or something, and you play tank or you play any other role that can like struggle to kill through heals,
and you'll find yourself, I don't know, behind the enemy team or something. You're playing your life, just, things run away from you, whatever. You're a bit out of position, and the worst thing is like you're shooting a DPS or something. They just ignore you. They're just like, you know what? We don't care. You're just gonna push the cart. Have fun. You shoot. We'll heal the damage. It's the most depressing thing to just be like disregarded as like an irrelevance. Anyway, here's a boss fight.
When I'm finished here, they will be able to identify you with dental records.
This boss fight is normally extremely annoying. It's still extremely annoying because of the hitbox being really slurpy and sort of janky and going all over the place. And then she comes up here and she tries to heal, and she's a nuisance. But it's normally way more frustrating because she CCs you with that stupid kick, and it has a nonsense hitbox. It extends like so much further than the visual should, than the visual tend to clue you in. But yeah, I don't really want to keep charging through. It's very energy hungry, but also it's really hard to hit her with massive strikes. So we'll just do it the easy way, or the way that's gonna preserve my sanity points. I'm not invincible anymore. Oh no, press the button. No. But you may not believe this, but normally this lady can damage you. She can actually hurt you a little bit. She could potentially even kill you if you're solo. But like, these are good chunks. And we're done. And we got our extreme token back. We got both back. This is the weakest character in the game, by the way. Clearing the hardest conceivable content with relative ease. Now, it's just bonus objectives in there. I'm trying to think if there's like anything I really want in there. Like, I do want to break all these. Grab some extra extreme tokens. And this is a really great place to farm them because there's a boss arena and there's a waypoint right there, so you can just...
Alright, time for a little exercise. Sometimes I forget how strong I am. Send more guards. I am mighty. I am Colossus.
So there's a homing beacon on this side. And I think that's it. I don't need the homing beacon. I don't think there's any tech stations or anything. I just remind myself of what's on this side.
Just give you one.
No, it's this side where you get the home beacon.
About time you people got it. Name's Caleb. I'm being full. That's good.
You got it.
Oh, Caleb Bungus, our old friend, mentor, teacher.
I cannot be beaten.
trying to remember if there's actually a good reason for me to be here. And there really isn't. But I'm here now, so...
Oh, thank you. Not really, kinda. I don't know.
Might as well rescue these chumps. Oh! He's been in that little room. There's nowhere to go to the toilet. He's been there for days. I would react that way. I would want to shower very, very badly.
I am mighty. I am Colossus.
As you can see, it's not necessarily a bad thing to go out of your way to take fights sometimes. Just because you can get a lot of resources from them. I'm just trying to remember, like, what is here? What do I need to actually get and do? The slow those hounds put on you is so dangerous. Yeah, we might as well come off here for the squabble, if nothing else. These guys are so annoying. Just make them disappear.
Very much.
Fun. Weakest character in the game, by the way.
I'm getting out of here.
Janky camera.
Oh, I'm...
Oh, the slow, it's so devastating.
I am mighty. I am Colossus.
This is one of the areas where you're like, oh, okay, I can actually die here. This is a dangerous place to be. Because there are these enemies that see me so badly, and they bring my damage down to such a low extent that, you know, I can't kill stuff before it starts ganging up on me and beating me up. And that's like a thing that happens when you play through this with other characters. It does not happen with this guy, the weakest character in the game,
Greetings again, my friend.
according to certain people who, you know, probably on the basis of the facts and the bills they had, were right in saying that, to be honest. I remember not liking Colossus at one point. I remember really hating him, actually. I could not. Maybe it is just because energy damage is better, and it does have some other stats. Nothing I really care that much about, but still stats. And it looks better. Yellow, just, you know, a little bit more prestige. So the main thing I don't want to miss even if I'm kind of going to speedrun a teensy bit. Skip some of these optional areas. The main thing I don't want to miss is danger and discs. And I'm a little bit too tired to really think clearly about where they are right now. So here, there is one, and it's a really important one that I want, but I don't remember exactly which room it's in. So we'll just have to like do it clockwise until we find it. Can I just kite you, please? You too? Huh? Good lads. Coming. Excellent. Continue, please. Alright. Now, get this work.
Where is my next opponent?
Don't get out of here.
You came just in time.
It's because he's really got to go to the bathroom.
Finally, someone came to save us.
Require more energy for that.
One person? Nah, I ain't spending energy on you. You can follow me until we have a group. Get him, man! Get him! But you see how easy this is. And there's my danger and disc.
I am mighty. I am Colossus. Where's my backup?
Where's my team?
I'm getting out of here.
And that's what I wanted, was qualifying exam. Just a little bit cheeky here. Using this to speed myself through.
You fought well.
So that's the way out. I don't care about the other prisoners. I do want to come up here.
Greetings,
Can't believe it.
I can't believe it.
Sinister.
I'm at the center of the god in the fucking.
I cannot be beaten.
Someone needs to fucking throw a lozenge. Anyway, let us continue on. Don't worry about the rest of these jerks. Let's just get out of here. Kill the act boss. And I shall end. I don't do more than one act in stream. Good thing I had that token. Ooh, going into the next area with no extremes. That's scary. We should be fine. As I said, if anything scary happens, we just run away. Go farm some. But nothing scary is gonna happen. These are just normal enemies. We just punch them to death. Charge through them. They're really annoying because of the kiting, but
I enjoy this very much.
we're gonna stop them. Textation. Spelled. This does not sound like he's having a great time. Anyway, let's continue on. This is actually quite dangerous, and I don't have a thing. You should be able to just charge through them. Hold on. No. Thank you. Get out of here. On your bum. On your back. You go aggro them, please. Pardon? Uh-huh.
You fought well.
And in those situations, if you have to take on something dangerous and if you don't have your invincibility button, you just CC the bejesus out of them.
Sometimes I forget how strong I am. Ah, there is nothing better than victory.
And this area can be kind of dangerous. I would usually use an extreme here, but I don't have one, so... It's just these bird things, like... The way they move, it can be really, really hard to get on the one that has the aura. And then they kind of like flap around and a bunch flap around and you can just end up with like a really big pack sitting in the aura, which is very dangerous, but we're fine. Mostly just a time issue. There are some...
I am mighty. I am Colossus.
I require more energy.
I am mighty. I am Colossus.
That's really nice. We got to like pull him away from the minions rather than having to kill them all. I hate the enemies in here. They're so annoying. It's way too open a space for them. Get back there. And a couple more boxes to break here. Should be fine. And we'll just...
Whoa, hold up there, boy.
Shush. Up the store. Throw our invincibility down at some point. See, these guys are like sit up in the air, and it's really annoying. You can't really get to them, and you just have to kind of wait for them to.
Where is my next opponent?
Lower down, and these are the ones that are actually dangerous. Life is easier when you one shot and when you're invincible.
Where is my next opponent?
Doors fully open now. We got every waypoint. Ready to go clap the final boss. I haven't exactly been speed running, but it's fine. Super, that's beautiful. We're gonna be holding on to that.
Having
difficulty coming to a decision.
That's pretty good. 57, 66, 60, and 50 though. Okay, so that's an upgrade that we'll be able to grab quite soon, actually. Very nice. And we don't worry about buying stuff like that anymore, because on this difficulty, you find a lot of money. And yeah, the responsible thing, I suppose, would be to go and actually farm extreme tokens in the Lady Deathstrike arena. But I'll live life on the edge and make do with what I have. We shouldn't need one for the first phase. And if I need one, I can farm at least another for the second phase, so we'll be fine. The game is generally quite generous with allowing you to farm up resources. If you just take your time and break stuff.
Some people think I'm a real drag.
And this CC that he does is super annoying just because it takes, the animation takes so long. But, geez, he gets chunked down, doesn't he?
I hope you appreciate the gravity of this situation.
You know, this is Helendariel. This is the final iteration of this boss. He doesn't get any more. There actually, no, there isn't. I was going to say there is one higher level. Not for this guy, though. Only for Lady Deathstrike, Sauron. And who else? Bastion, Sugarman, Strife. So you can take on those guys at an even higher grade in the Danger Room as a kind of final test. And that's actually where I really stress tested all the most broken builds and so on, because you just one-shot everything everywhere else. So you kind of have to go there. And that's where you really separate the wheat from the chaff. It's like Colossus can't really hang there. It takes him minutes to kill them. Even though I would say he's definitely an A-tier character. He's just not broken. And you're not supposed to be able to do this stuff solo. So, you know. Taking a little while because I want to go around and make sure we get all these crates. Just another extreme token would not go amiss for the second phase of this fight, but one is enough if we only have one. Oh, we have a chat message, by the way, and no, Colossus is not that weak. This is the whole point of the stream, is to show that Colossus is actually very strong, because this is the most typical way you can play the game. I'm playing on the hardest difficulty, and I'm playing it solo, and I'm playing it with no saves. So if I die forever. But we've yet to die. We're playing solo, and we've comfortably gotten to the final boss of the first act with almost no struggle, very little concern. And if you go to the start of the stream, I'll explain it, like the build and everything else, and why I believe people miss the trick when it comes to characters like Colossus as far as building them powerfully is concerned. And I need to run to get on this blimp. Run! Alright, I'm on the blimp. We are safe.
You fools!
Don't knock me down before I can press my buttons. Get punched. He immediately runs away like a bebe, because that's what he is, big bebe. To you.
Wanna go out with a bang?
very much.
Get one back. You.
Wanna go out with a bang?
And see that you charge through there, just get more extreme. And we get another.
Are you alright?
Let's just turn this back on, just for the fun of it. This is why be invincible when you can be invincible. Ah. My friend Vince used to say that nobody is truly invincible. You know what, let's just press a big button and make him disappear. Weakest character in the game. I'm telling you, most characters cannot do this. They will not survive it. They can't. They cannot do this content. They don't have the numbers. They take so long to kill stuff, or they're just so fragile that when they get to a danger, or they need so much energy to get the kills that they run out of energy pots, or they're so fragile that you can't make a mistake. If you make mistakes, you die. When you're up against dangerous stuff, you have to always be able to kill it instantly, and just use positioning and awareness to kind of avoid the worst of it. You can see that I play that way with Sabretooth when I do it normal. It's much harder to do it on this difficulty level because more enemies have more burst, there are more bosses, and there are more immunities. We've yet to come across physical immunes. We've yet to come across physical and mental immunes. We will come across both, and they will be a problem. But as I said, unless we must kill them, there's no rule saying we can't just run away, run past them. And there we are. Act 1, boss, done and dusted. Life is good. Let's do our qualifying exam. Let's get our free skill point, and let's push on to Act 2, which I'm not going to actually start right now, but, Ooh, okay. Alright, we got the big monies now, but that's all my freaking monies. Alright, that'll come later. We'll get that later. Alright, let's do the qualifying exam. Hold on, I have 2 extreme tokens, that's enough. Qualifying exam, please. So we could do all these. You get stat points for it. I might do them off stream at some point. Stat points are always nice, but let's just do this one with that big old juicy talent point.
Let's do this.
Ah, weakest character in the game, by the way.
Begin.
Nah, it's fine. Let's just get in there and give this lady a good fisting. Iron fist, chunk, chunk, chunk. She can't heal herself in this one, so she's way less slippery and annoying, especially when you're invincible. Chunk, chunk, chunk.
Exam has been completed. Grade passed.
Now,
Congratulations.
just putting the margins on so you can understand how kind of easy this game is. This game says, the best award you can get for this is to kill her in 3 minutes with a full team, with 4 people. This is how the game is balanced. It's balanced, around the idea that you can be really bad at it and still get everything. Because think about how quickly I just did that with 1 person. And these are the kind of builds, these maybe do it in 3 minutes with a full team. These are the kind of builds that, people who don't min-max properly are putting on. The game is balanced around the idea that you don't have to min-max completely. Anyway, I don't even know what to do with that skill point because we're just at that point. Anyway, let's talk to, actually, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save because although this is hardcore run, I will save at the end of acts. So stop streaming at the end of the acts. But I'm going to save before I leave because this game can crash. It's unstable on Windows 11. It was stable until about 1.5 years ago or something. They put some new bullshit update and now this happens with the cutscenes and sometimes it crashes. Usually it doesn't. But I still recommend this game. You can download this game, probably play it on your goddamn phone, It's a couple 100 megabytes. It's free.
it's still, I don't know, to me at least, it still looks fine. Like, this doesn't look good. But when you're, like, in the isolinear, like here, it looks fine. The effects are fine, you know, to me at least. And I think it has some really fun mechanics. And some fun. I think this is the one I want. So we just say, well, anyway, to anyone who tuned in, thank you so much. We're going to continue this. And as I said, this is a bit of a actually nerd ragey kind of. I'm not raging, but you know what I mean. It's just like, I saw this big video. I thought no one cared about this game, but some content creator obviously already has a following. And it makes really good content. You know, I'm not trying to talk trash about the players. That's why I'm not going to say who it was or anything. But someone did this big list of rating every character in the game. And again, look, we can disagree. We can disagree about all sorts of stuff. Who's S tier and who's A tier and all that. But to say this guy is the worst character in the game when I just can do that, you know, I don't think it applies. As I say, this is not how people play this game. You're supposed to play this game with 4 people. The way I'm playing this game, I take 4 times as much aggression. I take 4 times as much damage. I have to deal 4 times as much damage. You know, I don't have access to team-based buffs that can be enormous and have all kinds of crazy synergies and powers and stuff like that. None of that. You know, the only advantage I get, and this is a good advantage, is just being able to be a pig with all the resources I get, all the energy potions and all the extreme tokens and stuff like that. But anyway, again, so just quickly for anyone who did watch, this is the build. We Massive Strike, that's our single target DPS. Siberian Express is our ad clear / movement / get out of jail free, one of the best abilities in the game. Demolition is a very special screen clearing nuke we will use every now and then at the cost of an extreme token. Unbreakable gives us invincibility and double damage. It lasts for almost a minute and we will have it up for every meaningful fight, meaning we should not be able to get killed by enemies in any fight. Block is quality of life. We don't really use it anymore. Metallurgy is just a little insurance policy, bit of passive resistances to help us out in those occasions when we are not using Unbreakable. We could very easily take those points out, put them in something else. Immune Master helps our energy economy, and I explained how energy economy helps with extreme economy because everything drops on an as-needed basis. So if you are running low on energy pots, the game will start dropping them. If you're running low on health pots, etc. And it will drop what you need before it will start dropping higher level resources. So we drop health before energy, and we drop energy for extreme tokens. And extreme tokens are what you want. So you want to not be eating all of these if you can avoid it. And that's what the strong characters do, and that's what the strong builds do. Anyway, I'm going to sign off for now, do my little end screen, and I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow. We could continue this. But I think the point has been proven, you know. Again, we are on the hard difficulty, second playthrough. I've already done a full solo hardcore playthrough with Colossus of this game. You can see it's on my channel. It's all there. We died a couple of times, but it was my first solo hardcore playthrough in many, many years. There are a couple of things I'd forgotten and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, enough battle. Thank you for anyone who tuned in, and I hope you enjoyed this. Take care.
Loading.